This is your host, Danny, and this is Myths and Legends from English Plus Podcast. In today's episode, we're going to continue talking about the Olympian gods, and today's episode is dedicated to talking about Poseidon. Last time we talked about Zeus, now let's talk about his brother, Poseidon. But just before we start, let me remind you that you can find a lot more on EnglishPlusPodcast.com, and I will start next week the audio courses that you can get on the website. If you become a patron on Patreon, you will have access to everything, including, of course, the audio courses. There are going to be 2 courses, the business course and the grammar course, one huge lesson every week, and it is going to lead you throughout the journey of learning step by step. It is not going to be just one big audio file and then exercises. No, it will be step by step. You will listen to something, then I will ask you to read something or do some exercises, then we will discuss the exercises together, and then we will move to the next point, and so on and so forth. It's going to be great. I have great things for you in store, and they will all start next week, but I will have to say that this is going to be exclusive for patrons. So if you haven't become a patron yet, there is a link in the description that will take you to my Patreon page. Become a patron. You will support me and save English Plus, because I need all the support you can give me if you want this project to continue. When you show some love and support, I'll make sure that I put every penny you contribute to good use. And now, without further ado, let's start our today's episode, Myths and Legends, the Olympian gods, and today we're going to talk about Poseidon. Poseidon is one of the major deities or gods in Greek mythology. Poseidon was the supreme ruler of the seas. The Romans called him Neptune. An awesome, unruly, and powerful god, Poseidon was associated with storms, earthquakes, and some other violent forces of nature. When angry, he could stir the sea to a fury, but he could also calm the raging waters with just a glance. One of his titles, translated as Earth Shaker, reflected his ability to cause earthquakes by striking the earth and mountains with his 3-pronged spear known as a trident. Another name for Poseidon was Hippios, meaning Lord of Horses, a reference to the fact that he was believed to be the creator of the first horse. Poseidon rode the waves in a swift chariot drawn by golden seahorses. He used his mighty trident not only to create earthquakes and stir ocean waves, but also to raise new land from beneath the sea or cause existing land to sink below the waters. Although often helpful to humans, protecting sailors at sea, guiding ships to safety, and filling nets with fish, Neptune could be a terrifying figure as well. Quick to anger, he directed his fury at anyone who acted against him or failed to show proper respect. Now let's talk about some major myths about Poseidon. Poseidon is the son of the Titans Kronos and Rhea. Poseidon was swallowed at birth by his father. He was saved by his brother Zeus, who tricked Kronos into taking a potion that caused him to vomit up Poseidon and the other siblings, Hades, Demeter, Hera, and Hestia. Poseidon later joined Zeus and Hades in overthrowing Kronos, and the 3 brothers then divided the universe among themselves. Zeus received the sky, Hades ruled the underworld or land of the dead, and Poseidon became god of the seas. Although Zeus was king of the gods, Poseidon often asserted his independence. Once he even plotted with the goddesses Hera and Athena to overthrow Zeus. Together, they managed to put Zeus in chains. However, the sea goddess Thetis saved Zeus by bringing a giant from Tartarus, which is a realm beneath the underworld, to release the king of the gods from his chains. As punishment for this rebellion, Zeus made Poseidon serve as a slave to King Laomedon of Troy for a year. During this time, Poseidon helped build great walls around the city. When the king refused to pay for his work, Poseidon took revenge by siding with the Greeks against Troy in the Trojan War. Now let's talk about the love life and children of Poseidon. Poseidon had a turbulent love life and fathered many children, including a number of monsters and sea creatures. With his wife, the sea nymph Amphitrite, he had 3 offspring. One of the children, Triton, was a sea god and a merman. A merman is the male version of a mermaid. but just like the mermaid, resembled a human above the waist and a fish from the waist down. Poseidon had children with other partners as well. After seducing his sister Demeter while disguised as a horse, he had 2 children, the divine horse Arion and a daughter Despina. Medusa is also sometimes mentioned as a lover of Poseidon. According to myth, Medusa was once a beautiful woman, and Poseidon seduced her inside one of the goddess Athena's temples. Athena, angered by this sign of disrespect, transformed Medusa into a hideous gorgon. The 2 children of Poseidon and Medusa were born from the blood spilled when the hero Perseus cut off Medusa's head. These 2 children were the winged horse Pegasus and a son named Chrysaor. Through his son Chrysaor, Poseidon became ancestor to some of the most fearsome monsters in Greek mythology, including the 3-headed hound Cerberus, the Hydra, the Nemean lion, and the Sphinx. Gaia, the earth, bore Poseidon 2 children, a giant and Charybdis, a sea monster that almost destroyed Odysseus during his journey home after the Trojan War. Another giant offspring of Poseidon, the one-eyed Cyclops Polyphemus, also threatened Odysseus on his voyage home. When Odysseus blinded the giant, he became a target of Poseidon's hatred. When Poseidon tried to seduce the beautiful sea nymph Scylla, his wife Amphitrite became jealous and transformed her into a horrible sea monster with 6 dog heads. Like Charybdis, Scylla terrorized sailors, and she devoured several of Odysseus' companions. Among Poseidon's other children were the evil Cercyon and Sciron, normal-sized offspring who threatened and killed travelers in Greece, and the giant Amycus, who forced people to fight with him and then killed them. Various ordinary mortals also claimed Poseidon as their father, including the famous Greek hero Theseus. Now let's talk about Poseidon's quarrels. Poseidon had numerous quarrels with other gods. One of his most famous disputes involved the goddess Athena. Both Poseidon and Athena claimed the region of Attica and its capital city as their own. A contest was held to see which god could give Athens the best gift. Whoever won would have the capital city named after them. Athena created an olive tree. Poseidon produced a saltwater spring, or in some other versions, the first horse. When the citizens judged Athena's gift to be superior, the angry Poseidon flooded the surrounding plain. Poseidon also quarreled with the sun god Helios over control of the Greek city of Corinth. The giant Briareus settled the argument by giving the hill overlooking the city to Helios and the surrounding land to Poseidon. Satisfied with this decision, Poseidon caused no problems for the people of Corinth. Another of Poseidon's famous quarrels was with Minos, the king of Crete. Minos asked Poseidon to send him a bull that he could sacrifice to the god. Poseidon sent such a magnificent bull that the king decided to keep it for himself instead of sacrificing it. Furious, Poseidon caused Minos' wife, Pasiphae, to fall in love with the bull and to give birth to the Minotaur, a monstrous beast that had the body of a man and the head of a bull. And now let's see how Poseidon is used in context. As the god of the sea, Poseidon reflects the way ancient Greeks and Romans viewed the seas and oceans upon which they relied for trade and commerce. Poseidon is depicted as a god prone to violent outbursts that occur almost without warning. This is similar to how a calm sea can quickly give way to stormy, dangerous swells. In addition, his frequent outbursts at not receiving proper respect may have been viewed as cautionary tales. Looking at the available historical evidence, some experts believe that Poseidon was among the most worshipped of all the Greek and Roman deities. This may also reflect the importance these people placed upon the sea as both a provider and a pathway to trade. But though the Greeks worshipped and respected Poseidon, it is important to note that places of worship to Poseidon were always located outside city walls, indicated that he was too violent and unpredictable for civilized, orderly city life. Poseidon represents the untamed and wild power of nature. While he ruled the sea and could cause the waters to become violent, he also had a strong connection to the earth as shown in his association with earthquakes that the Greeks believed he started with his mighty trident. The trident itself, an important symbol of Poseidon, indicates his stronger association with fishermen than sailors, since the trident is an important tool in the fishing trade. Poseidon also had a strong connection to horses, particularly the wild and powerful aspects of horses. The Greeks would pray to him before and after a horse race, although they prayed to Athena during the race, as she was responsible for the actual technique of horse racing. Another animal associated with Poseidon is the dolphin. A sighting of a dolphin by Greek sailors was considered a good sign of a smooth trip. Now let's talk about Poseidon in art, literature, and everyday life. In ancient art, Poseidon was often portrayed riding in a chariot pulled by horses or hippocamps, creatures with front halves similar to horses and back halves like fish. He was usually seen holding his trident. In modern times, he is perhaps best known by his Roman name Neptune. Sculptures of Neptune are popular in city fountains and can be found in cities such as Copenhagen, Florence, Mexico City, and Virginia Beach. Neptune also makes an appearance in the animated film The SpongeBob SquarePants movie in 2004, with actor Jeffrey Tambor providing the voice of King Neptune. Poseidon plays a key part in the 2005 novel The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan, who follows the adventures of a demigod named Percy Jackson. And now we arrive to the final question of this episode based on what we talked about Poseidon, or inspired by Poseidon's story. Of course, if you would like to discuss it, you can always reach out on social media and discuss this question with me. And I promise I will make some efforts to be more present on social media. I know that I'm not doing a great job there, and it is important. It is a little bit overwhelming for me, but I'm doing my best. If you have any suggestions, if you have any ideas that you think I can do to create a better presence on social media, please reach out, because to be honest, that's definitely not my forte, because so far I'm not doing a great job on social media. But anyway, our question for today, inspired by the story of Poseidon. Poseidon made his home at the bottom of the sea, in a palace made of coral. Now, over 2/3 of our planet's surface is covered by water. As the human population continues to grow, the amount of land available for people to live on will become even smaller. Do you think that humans will someday live in communities on or under the oceans of the world? Is that possible? What unique problems would humans face living in the realm of Poseidon, if it ever happens? Now, of course, this is a hypothetical question, but what is better than a hypothetical question to start a conversation and a discussion? That is the question. We can discuss it on English Plus social media channels, and that'll be everything for today's episode, Myths and Legends. We talked about the Olympian god Poseidon. Next time, we will talk about Hades, the third brother of the three, Zeus, Poseidon, and obviously we will talk about Hades. Until next time, thank you very much for listening to another episode from English Plus Podcast. I will remind you again that you will find a lot more on EnglishPlusPodcast.com. The link is in the description. Take the link and go there and see a world of knowledge that you can use on my website. And don't forget, English Plus needs you. Save English Plus by becoming a supporter on Patreon. The other link in the description will take you to my Patreon page. Contribute if you can, because that will save English Plus and will keep us going. Thank you very much. This is your host, Danny. I will see you next time.